utilizing too many videos and at the same time, but so the system went down for some reason. I had to pile it back up. And thank you so much for sticking around. I was just talking about this second segment, how it is about recovering asset recovery in a Liberian system. We are going to be looking at why the fight to end corruption in Liberia is so difficult. Majority of our people have been led to believe that this is an endeavor championed by the presidents of our country. And I think they have roles to play in that. Of course, we cannot exonerate them 100%. But there are certain individuals who have perpetuated themselves over and over, government in, government out. And these individuals have become wealthy overnight. They're able to sponsor their own proxy to go in the system and continue with, this big old effort to amass wealth through illegal means. And one individual referred to them as the cartel. Subsequently, another one now is calling them the cabal. And this cabal or cartel, it's one and the same word. The application of the two words, cabal and a cartel, we will from time to time define the two words so you know exactly what we're talking about. But tonight we'll be playing audio and video clips from Mr. Johnson. Arthur Johnson was recently in the office of the Solicitor General, Sema Serena Cephas. He was part of an effort called AIRRAT, AIRRAT, and again, that's another nomenclature I hope to define. We will, from going forward, we'll try to see if we can define that word. But there's a reason why we all blame the president. But if you listen to some of the things, individuals who have been tasked with the responsibility, some may not want to speak, but because Arthur Johnson is no longer attached to the fight against corruption in another form, maybe he would take it in the private sector or in a different sector, but for now he is detached from the office of Solicitor General. He resigned actually, and the Solicitor General was just on my show maybe a few hours ago, and he made it known that he was a big asset to the effort to recover about some $4.6 billion stolen assets. We're beginning to see conviction. We've seen moves in locale. Individuals are undergoing restitution exercise. In other words, the focus is not necessarily to lock people up. Of course, that will be a second or last resort, but they want to recover money first. People who took this money, some of them are living largesse life. They're very wealthy because they've been doing it from generation to generation. And these are the individuals actually that are making the fight against corruption so difficult. Successive presidents have come in thinking that they can end it. But remember, the Liberian society is not only about the president. There are folks who are locked up in certain areas. They are there and they have control and command. And these are the individuals who have made it their duty to revolve themselves around the president. And if you set yourself in the middle of certain company, certain voices, you soon begin to take cue from those voices because they're your immediate influence before going out there. And so these individuals are entrenched around the president and within the system. Okay, so these are the individuals. Arthur Johnson, first-hand experience, was trying to actually give us a clue as to why he left. It was not because he was not being paid per se, but it seems as though he was running a fruitless exercise. And also tomorrow, I've sent him an email to see if he can appear on my show, because Arthur Johnson is a fearless guy. He talks, and so, there are times when the late Councillor Allison, because of people like those who lost their lives in the pursuit of ending corruption in our system, people like Harry Greaves, even though some of them had their own problems, but these individuals to a larger extent had gone, taking that whistleblowing stance, and they were, of course, known to be people who were going to end this endemic thing called corruption. And of course the system fought them, and unless we go further, one can deduce that they were murdered, because that's how the system works. And this is the system Arthur Johnson is trying to describe in his video. So I will play that. I like to give us an interlude of music. Maybe that can keep us. Let's go to our presentation room and see if we can do an interlude here. Give me a sec. Yeah, let's see if we can. I don't know if this system still works. Give me a sec here. Yeah, so we continue to think that the fight to end corruption is primarily the responsibility of the president. Of course it is. But let's not forget that those who are in charge will stifle any effort by the president to end corruption. Let's take interlude music from City TV. Thank you so
Hello,
welcome. And if you're just joining me, I'd like to thank you for taking off your time. And we're back in this second segment of our presentation, and we will go back from time to time into our presentation room. And around here, the show has so many virtual rooms, and some are real rooms, and we just have to swing by and put ourselves in there. But I was just saying that the fight to end corruption, we all think it's mostly stalled by the president or the head of government. But those who have been tasked with the responsibility of fighting corruption can outrightly tell you that the president may have the willpower. I remember when Madam Salif sang the song so eloquently that corruption was public enemy number one. We laughed after she outrightly failed. And now President Weah is another one who probably had promised to end corruption, even though he may not have said it so eloquently like Madam Salif. But there are challenges. We have to be able to look into why president after president have not been able to end corruption. That's because there are two things. There's just one reason, but two observers have looked at this issue. One calls it a cartel. The cartel, for the most part, the other individual were looking at a group of tribal people belonging to one group of Liberians who have installed themselves within the system and are benefiting tremendously from this spoil system. That individual referred to that group or that effort as cartel. And then you have another group, another guy who has come in, and now he's referring to it as a cabal, C-A-B-A-L. And we will try to define the meaning of these words, cartel and cabal. But in my opinion, looking at the definition, both just look like the same, one and the same. Okay, but let's go back in the system there and look at what Arthur Johnson, remember, was the defendant was the lawyer representing Kabina Jane. One could say he carried himself well as a criminal attorney. He has been involved with criminal law for a very long time, and in excess of 2 decades. So this individual is well schooled in the area, and Arthur Johnson, upon losing that case in the Supreme Court or in the House of Senate, that actually presided over the impeachment proceeding of Councilor, not Councilor, but former Justice Jane. That individual, upon ending that case, just went and joined the Solicitor General, Sema Sabrina, and both of them, one was the government prosecution representative, which was Sema Serena Cephas, and Councillor Arthur Johnson, of course, was the gentleman defending the former Justice Jane. And so the two of them form a team, and they were working collaboratively at the Ministry of Justice in the Office of Solicitor General. So, but they have been trying to retrieve asset in excess of 4.6 billion. One may think that where all that money coming from, but yeah, that is the kind of advice that were given to them by forensic experts, both from the United Kingdom, the United States, that went in the system and say, hey, don't pay us. They had gone in the system and tried to trace, these were the folks who were running behind Mr. Taylor for a long time, and they were able to recover certain things, even though they were not able to pin Mr. Taylor to some of these assets. But they retrieved quite a bit. And that's the expert forensic team or teams that they're utilizing. And these folks are saying, give us just a small amount of percentage of the retrieved wealth, stolen wealth, maybe about 4%. Imagine if somebody's getting 400 million, you give them 4%. That's nothing, as opposed to that money being there. So Arthur Johnson felt frustrated because some of the individuals who are preventing the effort are right within the decision-making circle of the president. And the president is just in the center. Now, if a president, surrounds himself with a group of voices, pretty soon he begins to yield to them because these are his line of experts that he depends on. A majority of these people are the subject of some of this asset recovery investigation effort. So they'll do everything possible to stall. They misinform the president. A president is just one individual. May not know everything, may not know some, may not even have a clue. But you depend on your team of advisors. Now, if those people appear so genuine to you, you think you have the best team. I think we've heard the president going in the public domain and saying that he's the captain of the team. And, he would, from time to time, if people are doing well, that's because they have created this blind loyalty to appear like they're truthful. But criminals they're not going to tell you I'm a criminal. They're not going to tell you that they are criminals. But these individuals, because they are part of the cabal, the cartel, they appear so genuine. You look at someone in the face, that individual is trying to be an attorney, that when a financial issue comes up, they're there to give advice. When legal issue comes up, they're there. You just look at it. They're in everything, banking, tourism. They just want to provide that expert opinion as though they know what they're talking about. And again, the president might be one individual, but remember, the circle of individuals are what determine the effectiveness of a president. Here's Councillor Arthur Johnson. Let's go to our presentation room. Of course, here we have many rooms. I'm going to take this off the screen and try to see if I can hopefully. Climate change, unexpected showers of blessings. Somebody say the rainy. The rainy? Yeah, my word. But anyway, we're privileged to have in studio. And some folks say, depends who you talk to, who you meet. Well, Councillor Arthur Johnson tendered in his resignation. Hold there are issues we want to know. He has some other papers reported that he said he will not participate in government cases. But the man is here, flesh and blood. Good morning. Good to have you, sir.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Okay. So what is this whole issue about your resignation? We want you to clarify some issues, insinuations. That is why we invited you. And thank God you braved the storm under the rain. You're soaking. And let's let the Liberian people know, from Banga to Ganta to Picano to Totota to Yangaya to Selikian to Artington, Bow, Waterside, Robertsport, Zozo, Vonjima, Clay, Ashland, Artington, wherever you are. Councillor Johnson is in studio. Council, once again, good morning. Let us unravel this discussion.
Thank you, Rogers. I came today to make certain clarifications because they are very important. In our Liberian society, whenever you have misperceptions, misunderstanding,
you need to come closer,
and misinterpretations regarding issues for which, in fact, the basis of the discussion of the issues derived from you, there is a need for clarification, because in life and in national politicking, perception is reality. We have come today to tell the Liberian people that we resigned as chairperson for AREC. And that statement and that decision is not a political decision. We want to be clear with that. Two, we also want to make clear here that the decision to resign is not an act of attack on the president of Liberia. That's true. Our position to resign from chairman of AREC is not intended to satisfy any political institution, individual, or whatever camp people may call it. It is not a political game for anybody, no. My decision is a wake-up call for certain things to happen in the interest of this country, because I love this country very well. It started like this. I resigned and I said there is no will. There is a lack of will. And I will explain today what I mean by the lack of will.
And because folks out there might be interested, what is will?
Thank you. Sometime last year in July, before July in fact, I was indeed contacted that my services were needed to participate in the process of the fight against corruption. Knowing myself as a criminal defense lawyer, career criminal defense lawyer, I knew very well that it's going to be a very serious task to fight corruption. And I knew very well that the institutional and legal framework required to fight corruption in this country needs really to be put in place. And in the absence of that, obviously, you will have a problem. And so one of the discussions I was contacted by, it was a discussion contacted by the Minister of State, Honorable Nathaniel McGill, that look, we need to put up this team, we need a crack team, we need people serious-minded, people of integrity, people that can help us to retrieve government-stolen assets. The Minister of State, one of the things that I raised that was, it's not going to be an easy task. We need a crack team, we need people serious-minded, people of integrity. My career and my life will be on the line. My family, everybody will be on the line. Retrieve government-stolen assets. Because the Minister of State, fight corruption, we are fighting what we call organized criminal empire. It's not going to be an easy task. In criminology, there is something we call organized criminality. It is a kind of criminal organization, in substance, made out of both white-collar criminals and blue-collar criminals, who structure themselves in a political system of society that, in fact, divide themselves into the legitimate and illegitimate world. Mm-hmm. The legitimate world is they find and try to make sure they have people in the structures and institutions of government that will protect their interests. And in the protection of their interests directly or indirectly, then they have people outside of the arrangement of government that will fight whatever the means possible to protect the stay of their institution. So I knew that very well as a professor of criminal justice science. Mm-hmm. So I told them this was what will happen. And two, I will get a lot of names. People will come after me. They will fight. They will in fact fight to denigrate me, to tear me apart, to destroy me. They will attempt coming in to even brag and say, look, my man, we want to do this. So we need this team to be a very credible team, and it must be structured and supported. I was drawing from the experience of the Funati Kopa's presidential task force that was established by Madam Ellen Salib at the time. Mm-hmm. Because I realized what Madam Salib did at the time was that when the issue of the cyber money and to run after corrupt cases came about, she realized that if you have a group of individuals or institutions and place them under a bureaucracy that will be used to fight corruption,
there will be a problem.
There will be a problem. Mm-hmm. Because we have, look, Liberia, we have what we call a cabal. Yeah, Liberia has a cabal too. Let me rephrase.
What is cabal?
I'm talking about this criminal organized criminal empire. They said that they control the variable. They are richer than the government. They are richer than the government. They are richer than the government.
That's what it is.
And one of the things to do is that They are richer than the government. So one of the things to do, they get people, and more especially the kind of polarized society we have, characterized with poverty. You can just get even somebody like one lay student in the university, 2 or 3 students, even people who have, say, first, second degree or get degree, if I won't claim to be educated. When you tell the man, say, look, my man, I want you to, I'll give you $100 US every month. I want you to be a propagandist on Facebook for me or on the social media to protect my interest. You get about 50 of them. They want to be doing, they will rejoice, that's a job for them. So that is how the cabal works. So you get a lot of names. So I told them this, all of these things, and they agreed. They agreed. To be frank, Miguel has good intention in the establishment of the process, where the source of that intention came from the president. Let me be clear with that. I cannot sit there and tell you that at no time, at any time where the president did not express his interest
in Ara.
If I say that, I'm lying. But I'm coming to the issue of the will that characterized my decision. You know, before I drop, there are other things also too. Is that in the structure of leadership, it's good to, from what I've observed from my experience, I'm not speaking specifically to this regime. When a president is a president, he depends on the circle of advisors. And the circle of advisors, if some of them, I'm not saying all, some of them have conflicting political interests that have the tendency to undermine the national agenda of the presidency, obviously the president will not succeed. That was the scenario with Madam Selim.
And the tax force.
Let me tell you something. Madam Selim, when she took over, she had interest in the fight for corruption. She had it. She had it for the beginning. But the circle of advisors, because there is a theory in criminology and criminal justice science that talk about beneficial association, positive reinforcement. When you spend more time with a particular group of people, they have the tendency to weaken you sometimes if you want to do things. So in the Funadi Kofa scenario, Madam Sari said, look, Funadi Kofa, you are the chairman, you will report directly to me, because the president at the time realized that the Ministry of Justice at the time was conflicted in the issue of the cyber mining case. So as a result, she said, look, the chairman will report to me. It was a time that the decisions were hard to take. That's why you see, there are certain lawyers I really respect in Liberia. In certain time when it comes to having the guts to take certain decisions. You see Kofa, Funadi Kofa, who is 9.5. There's this other lawyer, Attorney Kukuyo Wulete. At certain point in time in that process, it took decisions. It took the will. It took the guts.
So we are still on the civil mining.
The civil mining scenario.
Okay.
And so it was not easy to go to court, and the decisions were taken. Now, so based on these experiences, it brought me back to the scenario. And I said, in order to do this, the president should establish this area to be a presidential task force, or through an executive order, that it reports to the office of the president.
Directly to the office of the president.
And it coordinates with the office of the Solicitor General. Because we realized the Solicitor General had the willpower also to move forward to support this particular thing, because the idea and the fundamental philosophy behind the whole process was him. I saw it. That's why I made those recommendations. Unfortunately, what happened is that we started the process. I knew very well I am somebody who had retainer that I have retainer that will always get close not less than $10,000 a month. I let all to go. I knew very well that I will be unpopular.
So by taking up the assignment with Aaron as chairman, you forgo 10,000 retainer.
Not more than that.
More than that.
So many things I was because it was because of love, and it is because of love of country, and to make this
But
government.
Counselor, people listen to you say because of love of country, then why your resignation?
That's why I'm coming to the will. And more besides, I also decided, most of my clients, and told them, look, I have a national assignment. I may not be able to be effective in most of your cases. And so I will have to do X, Y, Z, establish the institution and what have you. So the idea was, first thing, I need to get people. As we speak, I made my law firm available for AREC to use up to now.
Conflict of interest?
No, my law firm.
No, I'm saying you use the head of AREC, you use your law firm, and somebody
My law office,
and
my
your
law office,
law office, and somebody said, but that is conflict of interest.
No, it's not conflict of interest.
Is it not?
No, it's a law firm assisting the government that is contracted to assist the government in the fight for corruption. Yeah.
So it's not conflict. It's
No,
not
that's
conflict
not
of interest.
conflict. Conflict of interest is if you have participated in a particular case and that case comes out, then you in another area that you be making decision affecting that particular case that came out, and you know you have certain prior interest in that particular case. That's conflict of interest.
Okay.
So I made my office law firm available for the office up to now as we speak. All the furniture, all the stationery, everything, my office is being disposed of to that. We brought in veteran, experienced criminal investigators. Some of them 30 years, some of them 25. The least, some of them
Europeans, Americans.
I'm talking about Liberians.
Okay, Liberian, local.
Then we brought them in. And many of them, I was able to convince them and say, look, I trust you. I know your ability. I work with you in national security. Because I tell you, Roger, I do not know any other way besides security, science, and law. That's all I know. So I know these guys. So I talked to them, and most of them
convinced them to
agree to come and work with me as we speak. We are investigating people who have stolen millions of United States.
$4 billion.
Yes.
Okay.
And then have taken these monies and have bought assets, the bunches, bonds out of Liberia. And these are the very same people in our society that many people can glorify. And so this kind of group we call the cabal has a way of fighting back. First, you got to break down the institution. Break down the structure, break down those guys that you know that are hard to be compromised, that are hard to get away. Then what we did next was we decided to leave Liberia to go and scout out some of the law firms and some of the institutions in the United States that we came across. Charge and say, look, before they even started anything, Liberia must be available not less than $500,000 United States.
$500 million.
Yes. Where is that coming from? Nowhere. The government does not have money. So it became a serious task. The Solicitor General, Sigma Serenia Seaforth, tirelessly made efforts both in Europe and even our first visit sometime in October, before October in Europe. We started the campaign when he was just appointed. We talked to most of our colleagues at the European Criminal Bar who gave us one or two things. In fact, help us to be able to identify individuals and institutions that will assist, because Liberia by itself cannot, through its own investigators, cannot be able to counter the kind of criminality that we are talking about. Because you need forensic criminal investigators. You're talking about financial forensic investigators, financial accountants, forensic financial accountants specialize in modern technology in identifying criminality committed by white-collar criminals. So you know in criminology, when you have the white-collar criminal who commits a crime. A white-collar criminal is somebody who wears coat sur les eye, who has a specialized degree and uses that specialization to commit a criminal offense. So you can't just manually just catch such a person because he tries to destroy the traces of evidence. So obviously you need people with the competence, the capability, and the modernized profession and knowledge to use. So we were lucky. Then we started looking, and we went and we were able to identify this, one of the best and one of the most powerful financial forensic institution in Europe, the Grand Tonton. To our utmost surprise, which I consider it as a blessing, these guys agreed that, look, you got to give us some time. They went out, they checked. After some months, they came back, they said, look, from our survey, Grand Tonton and Adesi, from our survey, Liberia has approximately 4.6 billion in assets and also in cash, both in Europe and the Americas and the Cayman Islands, that this money, we can recover it. Even if we don't recall all, but
we get maybe
80%. But what we can do, because we found out that people don't have money, we will look for litigation funders to sponsor and finance the process. If we do not repatriate the money to your country, don't pay us.
That was the arrangement.
That was the agreement. And you know, the Solicitor General was very, very, very strategic.
Was it a legal?
Oh yeah, very strategic. We went together. Even the spokesperson for AREC, Councillor Lafia Go, we all sat days upon days to look into the document to protect the interests of Liberia, because that had been the problem with Liberia in concession agreements. Liberians have not been protected over the years back, 20 years back, 50 years back, and so. So we made sure even the evidence collection process, it should be our investigators that must lead, the Liberian investigators. In the process, they agreed that they can repatriate it. If they repatriate the money, then we can have the percentage to give them. Very limited percentage.
So what was the percentage?
About 4%.
On the 4 billion, or any amount collected?
Any amount collected. About 4 to 6%.
But let me ask you, Councillor, the AREC collected 400,000.
Yes, I'll come to that.
Okay.
We collected that. That is the Liberian team that collected that. So they are not involved in that.
Okay.
We collected that, and we were still up to the time before I resigned. People were also paying.
Okay.
People were also paying. Yeah. Some people did not want to go to court, so they were doing restitution.
Okay.
Because the point is, you need a faith. Look, I tell you, when I resigned, most of those guys who are studying, they rejoice, they're celebrating. Even in the States, some of them celebrating and that, because I set up a tentacle in the United States that I know where they have all these things. That one, when they hear I go America, they worry. You understand what I'm saying? They come back. So what happened is that the guys, we went into the agreement, we signed the agreement with them. Interestingly, the Minister of Justice cleverly decided not to sign the agreement.
He did not affix his signature.
Yeah. You know what he did?
Why?
He always said, he said, look, he preferred for the acting Minister of Justice at the time,
who was the
Honorable Nati Tuan, to sign their contract. But that is authorized authority anyway. I'm just saying something. I'm just saying something in passing. So we went. The agreement was signed. Those guys came down. First, they have brought their people. I think we're on the next phase of the investigation. The phase of the investigation now is you can identify the assets in Europe and America and the Cayman Islands or in Asia.
Where is such money?
Yeah.
Stolen money.
Yeah, but in criminal law, there is something we call the doctrine of locus delati.
Locus delati.
Locus delati. It is a criminal law doctrine that says in order to establish criminality, you must first of all establish where the crime was committed. So you must establish the evidential basis. You have to establish the evidential basis.
The evidence.
The evidence, the gathering process. And the gathering process must meet up with what we call the chain of custody. The chain of custody in criminal procedural law is the method in which you collect the evidence, and on the basis of the collection of evidence, the integrity of the evidence will always be respected, even in Liberia and out of Liberia.
The integrity.
The integrity of the evidence, meaning the evidence will not tamper with. And luckily for us, we start with these international criminal investigators. This is what they explain, and this is what we have discussed, we agreed upon. So we have them in. So at the end of the day, if we go in Europe and went for a particular debaucher or a particular asset or a particular share of a particular person, Liberia, who is it? Look, as we speak, you won't believe it, my brother. There are about 2 homes now of belonging to some of those guys that we investigated that have been sold in order to lose identity because of this same delay. One is for almost 6 million, the person sold it. Another was for 4 million.
Property.
They're trying to.
Where is that? In the States or in Europe?
In the States. I'm talking about
Are those ministers past ministers of government officials? Sir?
No, past officials of government.
Okay.
And some people too, some of them in government.
Personally,
yeah, some in government. But I'm not calling it because of national security reasons. So for this reason, we reached this stage. Now the time came for the collection of the evidence. Holding to the fact that AREC cannot be supervised under a bureaucratic structure at the Ministry of Justice, that there will be a tendency where there will be conflict of interest. I will come to where the conflict of interest lies. One.
But Council, let me ask you this question. It's key. AREC, like you said, you needed a presidential other decree or executive order, meaning that you report directly to the office of the president.
Yeah, as a presidential task force.
As a presidential task force. But then, where is this issue of conflict of interest, bureaucracy? Where is it coming from the Ministry of Justice?
That's where we come in.
Because I want to understand the
that is where we're going. So as a result, in the first phase of the evidence gathering process, because the president mandated that all other reports for the past 7, 8, 9, 10 years will be investigated.
Yeah, for the past 10 years.
Yeah, everything came back to us. We talk about 250 audit reports that indict. So AREC is not on witch hunting. AREC
is acting
on the audit report
from the GSC.
No name that have been called by AREC, whose name is not the product of the audit report. So what we started doing first, we got the reports, and then we start going after the evidence, the source documents of the audit reports. And then when that was concluded, then we went to him to conduct interview, to talk with these institutions, heads of institutions in these areas. So first and foremost, one of those major institutions is the Ministry of Finance, because that's where financial transactions takes place. Then you have NOCA. NOCA, where reports have shown, I'm not saying this thing, where reports have shown that millions of dollars was squandered through NOCA.
In terms of figure, what are we talking about?
We're talking about more than 50, some more 100, some more 1,000, a million United States dollars. More than that.
Just NOCA.
Just NOCA. Then you talk about using other institutions. So the point was, we need the evidence to proceed with these institutions. We need the evidence. Then we talk about we went talking about institutions like the LRA. We'll be talking to them. We needed some records there, the commercial banks and what have you. Because the reason the evidence gathering is important in this nature, if you, in the European world, if you do not meet the high standard of evidence gathering procedure, you go to court and we keep the case out. And in fact, the people can even argue and say, look, the Liberi does not have a strong justice system. They just
jurisprudence.
Yes, they may argue like that. That have the defense lawyer, because I'm a criminal defense lawyer, I know how a defense lawyer argue. You understand? So in the defense society, the defense lawyer.
So what you are fighting for is the credibility of the report.
The report and the evidence. That's correct. Grant Thornton, our partners, along with our Liberian investigators, were able to identify reports that indict these individuals. And as we speak, the institution was able to identify 22 cases with solid evidence that only required to link with the financial transaction, the wire transfer from these institutions like NOCA, that will complement the criminal agency traceable to the person being accused and investigated by AREC. And if NOCA refuses to do that, if the Ministry of Finance is dragging its legs, if the central bank that is responsible and authorized is cognizant of all of the transactions for the past 10 years to solidify the investigative reports contained in the GSA report, as well as the follow-up
report.
The GSA report, and then the follow-up investigation, because we're on phase 2 of the investigation of AREC. Phase 2. Supported highly by Grant Thornton and Adesi.
Those international friends.
If we don't do that, then it's a joke. So the question came about. The first thing is what I was afraid of, that the Ministry of Justice conflict. The Ministry of Justice should not supervise. When we made these reports, we brought them to their attention and said, look, these are the
attention
reports.
To whom?
First, we had a meeting. Our partners told us that these are the issues. And let me be clear here first. The present Minister of Justice is conflicted in 6 of these reports.
The Minister of Justice.
The Minister of Justice, Frank Musadin. Now the question is, should AREC report to the Attorney General
or the Office of the President?
Or the Office of the President. A person who is also the subject of the criminal investigation. I said it would be dangerous for the team. Because if I'm investigating you, Rogers, and they say I should report to you and give you the report.
What sense does that make?
I will be killing myself. I will be slaughtering myself. So what happened is that the Minister of Justice cleverly, because he has all of the resources to his control, knew very well that this is the problem. So they started to undermine AREC.
How did they undermine AREC?
Good. The first thing is, he made sure, and he has said consistently, that AREC will not stand.
Is that evidence?
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. There is nothing about AREC that the Solicitor General brings to the attention of the Minister of Justice that the Minister of Justice look at him. He said, look, my man, go by. You're running a parallel Minister of Justice. Go deal with it. When he said, look, we need money to do this, he said, go by and go do it. Because you are the dumb. I will not touch anything on it. We have gone 9 months. People think that the issue of resignation is about money.
So what's the issue?
The issue is this will. This is what I'm talking about.
Counselor, you keep talking about, take us to this will.
The will is this. 1, the Justice Minister had been very, very strong in opposing this particular thing. And how does it happen? The first thing, why the Justice Minister should coordinate or let's say cooperate with the work of AREC and support it, even though he does not support the work of AREC, because he knows that he is also mean in the report. The next thing is the lack of will. We went to Nokar. Attorney Safua Gray, who is the president of Nokar, before me and the minister, the Solicitor General, told us that she will not.
Who minister?
Solicitor General.
No, you along with the
Solicitor General. We went first to meet her. That look, we have this thing, and our people need the cooperation of Nokar. We are trying to meet up with the mandate of the president regarding the issue of the audit. We need to talk to you on this particular issue of Nokar for the past 9 years, 10 years. The president of Nokar was clear to us that, look, I'm not going to give any evidence to you people. I will not cooperate with AREC. I don't want to see anything I give to you people like children that you will put it in the press. What press? We're conducting a criminal investigation. Then when we go put in press? I thought she was joking. So we said, no, but you know, Madam President, this thing is in the interest of the country. I said, it's not about you. It's not about you. We are not interested. We have mandate. We have scope. We're going for 10 years.
10 years. So it got nothing to do with you.
The past regime.
So what is a fear? So what is a fear?
She mandated, and even in many public places, when she appeared, she says that the institution will never stand.
The president of
Nokar president.
So you have the justice.
So my question is, what is she hiding? But Nokar records need to be made available.
Counsel, did you complain all to the office of the president?
Of course, we are complaining.
In written?
And then they
written communication?
We complain, yes. Listen. Then we decided and said, okay, they will give us the opportunity, they will write these institutions for these institutions to open out and give us unfettered access for certain things. And all of them, we wrote the sample letters to them. Now, this is what is happening. People can be used unknowingly in the fight against corruption, and they will not know it so. The next thing was the CBL employees, the CBL. The investigators went there 1 or 2 times, they had a conference, oh yeah, we have you guys, we see you. The next time we look with the international investigators, the CBL said, because of national security reasons, we cannot give evidence to your people. How do you call that? Is that a will?
No.
That's not a will. The central bank that we rely on
for financial
transaction in order to proceed has said, it's a national security reason. Where national security criminality is a national security reasons. That is what they have given to our investigators. So the whole process is stalled. We ran after this thing over and over again. Now, the Joseph Lizard didn't stop there. This is what he did. He went on a propaganda spree that in order to address this issue, the levy, he said the Solicitor General wants his job. Unfortunately, I think you witnessed one of the most demeaning conference that was held regarding the Solicitor General at the Senate. He misled the Senate and told the Senate that this guy is fighting for my job and gave misinformation. In addition to his action, the cabal is also operating. The cabal were also misinformed officials in government that the guys are only doing it in
the principle.
Yeah. They said, look, they think they put doing a fiasco. You understand? Yeah. Because you know, as president, the president has a lot of ears. And he's a human being. All of us, no matter how strong we are, but the people you have around you, and some of them who come in who are influential, people are in government that have conflicting interests, some of them, while some of them in the government want for their government to succeed. While others are there, they have an agenda. I will not be here to go and commit suicide because I can see that if I don't do that, I'll be walking in a slaughterhouse. And so he was so clever and misinformed the Senate that look, this guy is running a parallel government, he's calling conflict in the government, and that the government does not need to even have this kind of situation. A lot of conflict at the Ministry of Justice, there's a need to get rid of this guy. In fact, from my intelligence, when CFOs went to the Senate, some people tried to convince the senators, and they wanted CFOs to be booted out with a vote of no confidence. Because they found out that was my backbone. So if you can break Arthur with your attempts, with your attempts to bribe Arthur, promising he said you want 150,000, 250,000, he pull you out of the office. If you can't do that to Arthur, then you go to.
So people came to you with 150,000. 150,000,
no, 200,000. They just say, my man, we can do this. The president, well, I said, look, my man, get out of my office. You understand what I'm saying? I said, get out of my office. Get out of my office. They know. I did not come here for money, per se. If I wanted to say I want money, I would not take this job. I know what I was really taking as a private lawyer.
Counsel, just so we don't forget. Folks, if you just tune in via the internet, www.alfm1079. We're on Facebook. Follow us, the Learned Counselor, criminal lawyer Arthur Johnson. And I want to ask you, budgetary allotment. I requested for 2.5 million.
That's the next way I'm coming to there.
Okay, so take us there because of the luxury of time.
So that was why they did the CFO. That's why some of the senators actually were looking at the issue of that information they got. They did not know
from the cabal
what happening within the cabal.
From the cabal.
So they demeaned that acclaimed lawyer of international accolade. the way they talk to him. You understand? At a certain point in time, you saw that a senator was like even acting like arguing law with a seasoned criminal lawyer or a seasoned Supreme Court lawyer. Yeah, pretending very. But without due respect to the House of Senate, they have been misled. The next will is this: the House of Legislature representative try to put us in for 2.1. People say, oh, the money too plenty. Where money plenty?
2.1 to go for 4 billion.
4.1 billion?
Yeah.
Is that 2.1? Is that money really coming out of Johnson package? No. It's logistics, intelligence. And then also salary for these investigators that I am bringing in. I will pay them from my pocket.
Even the PRs.
The PR, the publicity.
Yeah.
Grant Thompson is not threatening to sue Liberia for 9 months' pay. Grant Thompson threatens to sue us for breach of contract. And
so is it true that they want to sue Liberia?
They threaten.
They're threatening to sue.
To sue us because we signed a contract and we are defaulting on the contract. We sort of give them access to get the information that they want.
Okay.
And so they cabal. And let me tell you the unfortunate thing about this government. The president does not know. Some of the officials that the president appointed also don't know. When some of these past officials of government were in their cabal and they stole money and they did the transfer, only those guys who have presidential appointment left government, right? You have the middle class, the middle line of managers, the technicians, some of them, and some of those technicians that are there who are still in the structure. The process is running. So unfortunately, if, for instance, I go to the central bank and a new governor is appointed who does not know over there what been happening, he will kind of mislead the governor and say, Chief, in the case of national security, you can't let it go to the thing. It will compromise our national security interest. But the underlying objective, why he misleading the officials there,
not to get to the bottom.
It's not for that thing to be exposed. I'm speaking there is not one hearsay. I'm a criminologist. And I read about organized criminality. So I know what I'm talking about the cabal. And so this is the problem we have had over the period. So we went to the House of Representatives, they put it in the budget. It went to the Senate.
The 2.1.
The 2.1. Hoping. We went to the Senate. It went to the Senate. Had the Ministry of Justice, because they put on the Ministry of Justice, represented to the Senate, that amount disappeared. Is that a will?
No, wait. Was the money allotted?
The representatives put 2.1 million.
But after it went to the Senate,
it disappeared.
It disappeared.
Meaning, ARA was not in the budget.
Yeah, they were not in the budget.
They were not in the budget. The lack of will. You know, one time I listened to one World Bank expert when he was talking about corruption and the fight. He said during the early time, I was a technical advisor for the PRS on the governance and rule of law, sent by the UNDP to work with the government of Liberia. The old man said, whenever we say collection, when we say corruption, it's not the presidency in particular we are talking about. We're talking about the collectives. There are people in there. There were people in the elite, Madame Salih's government too, that actually did things that Madame Salih did not know. Because the president is just up there. She depends on the advisor. Now, I said when I see the present president, I have no time. And I look in your face, I see the sincerity to fight. But when you see the people of influence who will be fighting against it, then I get disappointed. Now, this is what happened to Nuka. Until those investigators went to Nuka and they put it out of the building. International investigators. Roger, do you know how shameful it is for me to go to your house and say, Roger, I want to help clean in your house. Let me clean your bathroom. Don't pay me. I will clean it. I will pour chlorine, everything inside for you. My brothers. Then I say, okay, but the way you came, security know that you enter my house. the way you came you signed a book to enter my yard. Okay, but how you came you? Who sent you to help me? In fact, when you start asking the stranger, it's like the strangers are begging us. So we made these attempts to meet the president, to tell the president, but the particular environment to have that time had not been available. And I don't want to blame the president on that, because
so our attempt to meet the president
on that particular issue, on this issue,
the issue of local, central bank.
Exactly. We met with Honorable McGill. Let me be frank with you. McGill has a good cause and interest for the process.
Okay.
But McGill is alone around the president. And the president has a will. So when you have 100 advisors, maybe 99% telling you you don't do it, you don't. We human beings. We are human beings. So this will I am talking about, my decision is not and should not be misinterpreted as an attack directly to the president. There are people within the structure who do not want the government to succeed in the fight corruption.
Honorable Councilor, we're out of time. But having said that, do you still demand your compensation?
Yes. Simple. I have my colleagues who are lawyers who believe in me. I have the investigator. It's risky. Roger, the man is investigating somebody who stole millions of dollars and he's hungry. Isn't that dangerous? 9 months they have not been paid. That is one of the factors, but the main factor, because I know the president was going to know and they will pay that money, is the issue of the will. The next thing is, I will not call names. There are people around the president, and they don't want to get they're acting like they're in good intent. How can I be, for example, let me give an example. How can I be a justice minister? I can also be a finance minister. I am also a legal consultant to the president. When I hear legal issue, I put my mouth there.
Financial issue,
I put my mouth there.
Social issue,
I put my mouth there. Criminal investigated national security issue, you put your mouth there. And you have an appointment that you should be paying attention to be doing. When you hear a legal matter where lawyers are the only people trained to interpret and talk about, you put your mouth there. All intended to confuse the president. Some of them are doing that either directly or indirectly to make the leadership not to succeed. And for me, I want to say, I'm not political. I'm not a politician, and I challenge anybody. I can't be a member of any political institution. So nobody will say, "Oh, a member of opposition, or a member of CDC, or like CCPP, or CPP." I don't know how they can call them. CPP.
Yeah.
Okay.
COP.
COP. Okay. Then you get, the man says, "No, I have a professional job. Look, I am not fighting for votes. I have taught criminal justice science in this country for more than 20 years. I have placed thousands of people out there who have signed their degrees, who are in the echelon of governance for the social control arena of this country. They believe in me and they respect me, so I must serve as an example. This decision is not a political decision to castigate anybody, but it is the reality on the ground.
So resigning, sending your resignation, that means all government cases, Arthur will not be a part of government cases.
No, that's not true.
No, I'm just confirm.
No.
Because this is speculation.
I'm a lawyer that respect contract.
So you have other contracts.
I signed a contract. I'm coming to you again to tell you where the will is now and what the Minister of Justice did. I signed a contract in the CDL case with the government of Liberia. The Minister of Justice signed that contract with me. I am the lead counsel in the CDL case.
You stay with team?
Yes, prosecuting Crane currency. But I will tell you what happened. Against our advance and over our advance, we argued that the decision to drop Crane currency would be dangerous.
Were you not part of it?
No, I was not part of it.
Did you not participate?
No.
Because you how can you say that?
I'm telling you.
Because I'm accusing you.
I'm telling you what the Solicitor General and the Minister of Justice did. And the president is not a lawyer. So he will rely on the legal person that must talk to him sincerely.
Because he's the Attorney General.
Attorney General. And he's the only minister in government that can disagree with the president under our law.
He's powerful.
Very powerful. You will not believe that we, the prosecutor, the Minister of Justice, while we're going, he had already written and sent the letter to front page, written clean currency that you have not and you could not in any way have been responsible criminally and civilly or any action in the CBS scenario. I warn, I said, you do that, Green can sue us for defamation.
Did you say that to the minister?
I said that to the Solicitor General that I reported directly.
Written communication?
Yeah, and the Solicitor
Where
General,
are those communications to the Solicitor General?
No, I didn't bring them.
No, for the
those are privileged documents. If the Solicitor General tells you,
but they are declassified. They are declassified.
No, those are
they are classified and declassified.
Yeah.
Can you declassify those documents
No,
for the sake of the public?
No, for the sake of national security, some of those things.
Then we're talking the same national security.
Yeah. But the point I'm making is, the Solicitor General gave an opinion at the time. I told him, and he wrote an opinion that it will not be. We can, even if we drop in clean currency, we can hold them criminal and commercially liable in Europe and sue them for over 500 million damages for what economic sabotage, for what they have done to undermine the economy. The action of clean currency is what put Liberi in a mess.
And the Cabal say no.
The Cabal say no. And now, so for that reason, the Justice Minister proceeded and unilaterally wrote them.
Did he consult the president?
I don't know whether, because that's privilege when he's with the president. I am saying he's the Attorney General. The president is not a lawyer.
Yeah, so he advised. But the president has legal lawyers or advisors. What was the advice given to the president by Archibald Bernard?
I'm not in the office of the legal advisor.
I'm just asking.
Yeah. So, but those are the issues. And we knew the consequences that would come. That's why I'm talking about will. And I told the Solicitor General, guess what happened? When that issue was dropped, some of our international partners who are listening with us in this investigation told us, they say, what you have done, we soiled the country.
Soiled.
S-O-I-L. We soiled the country. Repetition. There are other entities that could be used. Our criminal investigators, the Justice Minister knew that Grand Tonton had already been given evidence to start a proceeding against green currency in a commercial court in Europe. That Liberi could recover millions of dollars from Grand Tonton. They will be at a leverage. So he rushed and wrote that letter. After that, he had misled the establishment. I will not sit here and allow this thing up. Look, let me tell you something. One of the persons that is the Minister of Justice hates to see in his life is Arthur Johnson.
Why does he hate you?
Because I am conducting an investigation. I'm sitting on an investigation that is mainly involved, and then he sees it as an offense. And it's not me. It's not me. I met it there. I'm going by the
records. But you guys collaborated before. I remember in the Parker case, you guys...
That's history, my brother.
Oh, history.
So that is the point here. This is what we are talking about.
So this is the will.
This is the will I'm talking about.
Okay. So that formed your decision.
Yeah. The next thing is,
Councilor, we're out of time.
Yeah. Next thing, before I rest, I read an investigation regarding Brandon Samuka. Roger, you will not believe it. There are people in the government that are happy and will be praying, that are hoping for the government to lose the corruption case that is being fought by Arab. When you do that, only because what? That's the cabal. Some of them are being used indirectly, they don't know. The point I'm talking about is that we are prosecuting people who have money more than the government. And so they have their tentacles and their organized structure out there. The first thing they will do is say, look, one of the ways to fight, let's fight to see where we can, because the country already, let's fight, we can see whether we can lobby and we'll get our own people within the legislature. Let's fight, we get people in the executive. Let's fight, we get people in this particular structure. Some of them are used unknowingly. So this is the problem when you hear me speaking about the will.
Okay. that leads us, I just talked to my business manager to at least allot us 10 minutes to take the public participation. Well, you listen to the Leonard Councilor, the Kabats, or the Kabah. That's a new word in town, right? A new terminology. The Kabah, introduced by Councilor Arthur Johnson. Well, let's take our first caller. 45 seconds. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, this Mohammed Kamara from
45 seconds.
you know, nothing will have to tell you, only to beg you whenever, because one of the saying that the president in a nose of it. So very small I was planning to focus President William is to get rid of corruption in this country. So with a free and with blessing you only your call. When the president call upon you to come out, we will take you and take it back. Please.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Hello? All right, let's take this caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Georgia.
45 seconds, name and location.
Thank you. My name is Anthony and I'm coming from Tuala.
Let's hear you, Anthony.
I want to say our dynamic loyal thank you, and I want to appeal to him. Please, this is donation to all. He's doing his best. Very try, as you said, as the president is not even know, he must find way by all calls to get the president and let him know so that this shit can go. Because this is bringing disgrace to us. There are people we are aware, we know what is going on. We don't really know. We are defending when it comes to this kind of activity that people don't want the government to succeed. So he doesn't want the government to succeed as a Nigerian. For God.
Okay, thank you ever so much. 086 107 107. We're taking more calls here until 10 minutes past the hour. Councillor Arthur Johnson. I mean, the revelation is so huge. How can an Attorney General behave in such form and manner? It's really, please don't call my private line. Please. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning to the
Yes, sir. Your name and location.
Well, my name is Ishmael Haji Samuel, and I call you from Calgary. Well, Council, let me commend you for your fight against corruption and the dehumanization that you are currently facing by those come out of the government. I learned this word from one of the lawyers from Nigeria called Patrick Biago. It was someone in Monday for 2010 when he talked about the Kabbalah crisis. Now, this is something that if the president was listening to this, I want to believe that he's listening because the Liberi Council is understanding this morning. I don't think. But people who are going out to invite restitute billions of dollars for Nigeria in the way power is not giving them.
Thank you so much. Let's rush on the time. We don't have time. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
45 seconds. Name and location, sir.
Yeah, this is James calling for Chicken Patrick.
Let's hear you, James.
I just want to commend the councillor so much. And I'm personally appealing to Councillor Johnson to please remain in that position until this problem can be solved. We have white-collar criminals, and they are in the central bank and locals. So let him please step with the president and make the president to understand these things so that our other recovery can be successful. I thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Just call Hot FM. Good morning. Yes, sir. Cabinet City Banga. The councillor is listening 45 seconds.
I carefully monitor the councillor as he propounded. Actually, I want to say thank you for your job well done. But somewhere we are confused. Like the councillor told us that after the lieutenant of the president has refused several times to give me evidence to help him in the process of carrying on the job. And you asked him if he did inform the president on their refusal to submit the evidence. And the councillor told you this several occasions on several times. He has pleaded or complained to the president. And up to the president can take.
No. He said, let me just say this. He said, I asked him for written communication. And he said he complained to his boss. His boss is the Solicitor General. He complained to the Solicitor General. I asked him written The Solicitor General. On the arrest is the Solicitor General. So he complained to the Solicitor General asking for written communication. He said he cannot deny it because he knows very well that indeed he lodged a complaint to the Solicitor General. Thank you so much for your participation. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. 45 seconds. Email location, sir.
I'm Chris Mondua. I call from Banga City, Bon County.
You got 45 seconds to make your point.
Yeah, I want to tell you guys thank you this morning. These are like where we need to see. And we pray that you make all things possible that you meet the president to explain such a thing because the president has a very good dream of this country. That we can put some of the guys off on the administrator. That we can be safe from corruption. But when you have seen this morning on your show, my brother has been listening to the show. I've never been such as compared to this morning. So, Councillor Arthur Johnson, I say thank you. May you keep your strong work you do. Don't mind you guys. I want to.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir. 45 seconds. Elephant.
Yeah, good morning, Roger. Councillor.
Go ahead. The councillor is listening.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, from for the time, the president rule to resemble the government. Because I put working on government in the country and in the country at all. Now, I think it's very on that what I say happening, the president will not be at all. Wow. Yesterday, generally resemble as this of people that the only money is the government. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I recommend that since I was just resigned, maybe he might come back for further.
Okay, maybe he might come back. Good morning. Elephant.
Good morning, my dear brother. I'm Reverend J. Bachia Kuma. I want to commend our learned counselor and have this to say. He should not remain. We are within prayer for this because God people must act openly as champion of justice. And if we don't stand for justice, it will be like placing a candle in the dark with all light. And justice in fight is the center of any country. So it is my prayer that by the grace of God, the president will understand and put the right people in place to fight and redeem this country from corruption.
Thank you, man of God. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Roger. This is Achifana. Thank you for the topic. Thanks for your engagement. But one thing I want to say here is that the president is the head of government. He championed the agenda of the country. The big fighting corruption, Mr. Arthur Johnson wants to tell me that the president doesn't know. When the president is the one that appoints the boss of the National Oil Company, the central bank, all the information that's going on. If the president does not know anything about the government, then how is the president running the country? Number two, the issue of local. We have been there fight against Robert Kelly at the time. But when we started to fight, and people call us to set up down in order to get something really quiet, we said no. Somebody came up clear and said, look, if fighting for nothing fight. Because many persons at the national legislature, they are on the National Oil Company payroll. I'm telling you honest truth. They are on the National Oil Company.
Archie, thank you so much. We got to rush on the time. If you like, you can join me next week. Let's talk more. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Vincent Doe, and I'm calling from Brooklyn.
Let's hear you, Mr. Doe. 45 seconds.
Okay, I want to say a very big thank you to the Councillor
Johnson.
Johnson. These are the kind of people with good integrity that we need in this country. But I wish to appeal to him. It is true that he's trying to fight from heaven and earth to get a better Nigeria in the justice system. But I want you, if there's any negotiation, to appeal to him to reconsider his statement. I want you to reconsider that to save Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Let's take this is our last caller. Good morning. Hello? Yes, sir. 45 seconds. Name and location.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. You're live. Make your point.
You got it? Good morning.
Okay, you're not getting us. So, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. 45 seconds.
Yeah, my name is Uncle Watson, and I call from Flowertown. Let me salute the Legend Councilor in studio this morning. Councilor Albert Johnson, please, I'm appealing to you to remain in that position. Do not resign. You need to say save Mama Liberia. Please, do not mind the Kaba position. Please, I'm begging you this morning.
Okay. Thank you ever so much. Well, Councillor, people are appealing to you, but how is that possible when you have the head of the Kaba and the Minister of Justice?
No, I'm not saying he's a Kaba. I'm saying the Kaba is an organized criminal organization. In criminology, the president knows about that. When it comes to criminal, he calls it criminal justice.
The president?
Yeah, he knows what they call organized criminality. He does criminal justice science.
Okay.
Yeah, that is area.
All right.
So what I'm talking is not a strange concept. Organized criminality, these are people, they have people within the structures. They have people within the structure of the government, and out of the government that fight. And let me get you one example of the organized, the guys that operate in the illegitimate world. Like they get some people, you get them on Facebook. Let me tell you another attack they post started with me. When I started, from the day I started in Arab. You get a group of children, I identify, I trace all of them, not knowing one of them that will investigate it, he didn't want to pay them. Some of them in Minnesota, some of them in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, on Woodland Street. They said there to one attire shop in Woodland. Let's see what we get. Kerry Street. Yeah, team play. They can just go sit down. I tell you that. They lecture whole day. They do. Let's visit guy. They get their own propaganda. They will cause you. They get infected, and then they will just cause you. I don't join that road. I don't join that road. I don't join that road. Get that. They will do it for. Consistently for 1 month to distract you, but I can't be deterred by that. I know who's doing that. I know the kind of person. He's one of those that send people to can't talk about, and some of the person bringing joke. My man, they can find something at 150, 200,000. I say, get outside. I'm not hungry. I'm not rich, but I'm not hungry. I get integrity.
Councillor, let's go.
Let me get
we stretch for time.
One of the things, another thing about Anoka, where Attorney Safwa made grade to us. You will not believe it. She told us, so all of the financial records, the computer records, electronic records in there, the guys deleted them before they left Noka. I said, not possible. He said, it happened. I said, okay, even if it happens, Madam President, even if it happens, our forensic experts, we can retrieve it. Leave it with us. I got forensic science. I teach forensic science, so I know. I said, we can retrieve it. Just give it to us. And they realized, no way now, she started doing these things. So this is the problem. And Arthur Johnson cannot conduct a criminal investigation, cannot head an investigation where I have told the Solicitor General that, Mr. Solicitor General, I cannot allow this report. These reports, look, we have identified 22 out of the other cases, 22 major cases that we have solidified with evidence that we just need that connection that worth up to 1.2 billion out of the 4.6 billion in order to proceed.
Okay, Councillor, let me ask you this question finally. You get a call from the President, Councillor Johnson, in a spirit of patriotism, fighting to make Liberia a better place. Please reconsider your decision. This will be about give and take. What will you also say to the President in order to rethink your resignation?
I reserve comment.
You reserve comment. Yeah. You don't want to comment. Yeah. You don't want to comment. No. Councillor Arthur Johnson, if you will decide, formal consultation, that please reconsider your resignation, by the President call you one morning, His Excellency, Dr. Charles, what was it, Dr. Charles? Okay, George Hitmane Weah. Say, Councillor Johnson, I want to see this country go forward, but please reconsider your decision to continue to serve Mama Liberia. What will be your decision?
I reserve comment.
You reserve comment. Yeah. Okay. Councillor Johnson, we've been on a marathon discussion. We'll call you back, and this revelation from Noka, trust me, the Kaba, we are going after them. Thanks for coming, Councillor.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Arthur Johnson, folks, and we bring down the curtains on the weekend edition. Mary Roy was here.
And of course, thanks for joining me. That was Councillor Arthur Johnson. He was one of two lawyers. There are so many. It's a team of lawyers within the Solicitor General's office. running ARET. I remember in the beginning of this broadcast, I promised to define some of these terminologies. I can tell you that the cartel that Eugene Fangon described many years ago does not seem to apply in this circumstance. You know, cartel mostly has to do with if, of course, it's a drug or criminal conspiracy, but the most appropriate way of referring to this is the cabal. And let's go back to our production room and our presentation room, and let me bring you the definition of this word cabal. This is Arthur Johnson. Let me see if we can find it. All right, so first we're going to be bringing you the definition of the word hang on, thought I was going to be able, but anyway, let me see if we can do a quick definition. Here it says the meaning of ARET is asset recovery and restitution team. That's the meaning of ARET. And Front Page Africa, of course, carry the resignation of Arthur Johnson. And you saw at length the description he just provided us that the intention to resign was not based on the lack of collecting salary per se. It's a lack of the willpower. And this is where my presentation tonight seemed to be leaning. The fact that we always think that the president of the Republic of Liberia is the one individual who actually lacks the willpower to fight corruption. But he just said it, that there's an entrenched effort. Okay, and that effort he referred to as the cabal. Here's the meaning of the word cabal. It says, a cabal is a group of people united in some close design. Okay, in some close design, usually to promote their private views or interest in an ideology, state, or other community, often by intrigue and usually unbeknownst to those outside the group. So this is a collective effort, and I believe Councillor Johnson has the goodwill. And we understand that most of us probably only look at the president because this is politics. For us, everything starts and ends with the president. And from the explanation that the councillor has provided, clearly has shown that this division, this lack of will, is not necessarily the president per se. There could be some inducement from the president. The president could have a say in it. But I want to believe there are other individuals who are actually involved with this. And he said, according to Councillor Johnson, the cabal, the group of individuals who are spearheading some of those things, are richer than the government, not the country, the government itself. So these individuals are entrenched. And one of those, it seems as the curtain was drawn on the Minister of Justice. 6 of the many reports that are being investigated right now, he has a conflict of interest, or he's the subject of criminal investigation. Now, how can you have such a person serving as the Attorney General of the Republic of Liberia when there is a criminal investigation on his behalf? So when to defend the budget, it's the responsibility of the minister to go to the Senate and defend the budget, annual budget, and he goes there. The money that was allotted for ARET, the asset recovery and restitution team, that money was taken out, and it was just a small amount of money compared to the $4.6 billion ARET is poised to retrieve. Lack of will, lack of effort to assist the effort. And you can tell that this is the Liberia we have. So sometimes when we talk, us in the scholarly world, let us not just narrow everything to a president simply because we may or may not like the president. Tomorrow I can tell you, you can go there, I can go there, comments can go there. It would be about that one individual within that corridor. And if we look at things that way, I don't think we will ever be able to nip corruption in the bud for the rest of our natural existence as a people. So I think this was good. I also have other clips. I've seen Aret at work. I've seen the international investigation team. I've seen some of their effort. You understand? Like Crane, for instance. I've seen the group of experts from Scotland Yard. These are forensic experts. You understand? And these folks are not saying pay me up front. They're saying pay us commission out of the money we'll retrieve. Billions of dollars. You understand? And these individuals are fighting. And you remember the guy is talking about a group of people drinking Atai. Well, the Atai in the United States is narrowed to one tribal group of people. And when that one tribal group of people, of course, taking on the airwaves to besmirch the character of the team, the leader of the team of investigators, definitely, it's a tribal interest. And there's one individual that would probably maybe connected. That's why he was trying to give us a clue. But contextually, this is a dragnet. It's an effort. Unless you have, and I'm afraid for Councillor Arthur Johnson. We saw how Harry Greaves was slaughtered. We saw how another attorney who, in his capacity, Allison, was also slaughtered. And that cabal is there. They're waiting because these are barren. They're rich. They've lifted so much amount of money from the system, and they're protecting those assets. You understand? Remember, they are layers. You may get rid of the minister, but their team of people are still there trying to hide stuff underneath, sweep things under the rug so that they can continue to protect this dragnet of individuals who are just there to just to remain resolute to bring the system down. And I tell you what, even if Councillor Arthur Johnson goes there, we have to. A few months ago, I said we have to get rid of. That's why Madam Salif went to work. These are some of the compromises she made. She wanted certain people retained. The Minister of Information is one. The Attorney General, the only guy who has the authority to stand against the president, is another one. And there are other folks who are entrenched. They're there. You understand? It's an effort. That's why, I don't blame much when people come, they are trying to remove certain technocrats. It's just that these technocrats, they are now replacing them with other technocrats that understand the job. They're just bringing in people based on their party loyalty. But to be frank, if you want to get rid of this entrenched system, you got to let some people go. If somebody has served in a capacity for 20 years, you retire them. I mean, hey, give them pension. I'll go find a different job. I'm saying this because that's how it's done here. Because you create that entrenchment, you continue with that cabal when you keep certain people who only understand how to repatriate money, how to move things around, how to sweep evidence under the rug. And until we have that group of individuals that will continue to make our country, you understand, recover from some of this stolen asset, we'll continue to look like a poor country when we have so much money. Okay, so much money. Let me give you a slide of entertainment. I will be right back here, and of course I am drawn with songs from Liberia, around Liberia, and I know most of us have other affinity for other music, but I am drawn into Liberian music. Okay. This is ZTG. Go back to our presentation.
What you do now?
All right, thank you for joining me tonight. And this is in my second broadcast. I hope it was informative. Tomorrow I will try to see if I can bring that second segment of criminal justice professional who are trying to make the difference in Liberia, and those who have putting their lives on the front line. And Arthur Johnson happens to be just one. Today I had Sema Serena Cephas, and there was this widely spread rumor that he has been tipped to be the NEC boss. Most of these people, I would say, don't rely on one source for your information, because that in itself, those of us who are scholar, they would admonish you not to just look at one source and hold that source as a reliable source. That is why even in the journalistic world, you have series of newspapers. You have the New York Times, you have the Washington Post, you have so many other sources. But you have folks who will brand themselves as the largest, they have the largest viewership, and people don't bother to go any other place. They just get their news from that one source. And unfortunately, Councillor Cephas, the Solicitor General, appeared on my show earlier today. The link is there. You can go on my page there and listen to just the program. Complete falsehood, according to him. Now, if it happens subsequently, he's not aware. And I know the way he sounded. You understand? Nobody would know that knowingly that they are going to be appointed as for a particular position and then go seek the information. According to the man, he said, people have been calling me, including diplomats. Say it's strange to me, so I was tempted to go to I was urged to go to the Executive Mansion webpage and see if I could just pull some information. You could tell that Councillor Serena Cephas, people have all kinds of hearsay about certain people. Firstly, I want to admonish people that he's an ICC lawyer. ICC is pertained with human right. Before they put someone on their bench as an ICC lawyer, I want to believe they've done their due diligence. If something comes out later, people are saying he's a G2 man, and some folks coming up with, you may have seen him in other endeavors, but people are saying that they were the ones reporting. And look, Liberia is so, the issue of education is so draining, till even those who pose to know themselves are ignorant. Let me say that. They're extreme ignorant. If you heard a hearsay, a rumor, maybe some inside gossip, some tabloid-like way of doing things. I mean, for God's sake, when you reach a certain level in life, you should verify information before you start running with it. You didn't get any clue. Someone probably, to pose yourself as this guy who has the ability to break news, sometimes it's a compromising position to be in. And those kinds of things, I'm never drawn to this kind, because I think I've read enough in life. I'm not going to go sit down to one guy who hears something, hearsay, and this person say, that person say, you break it as though, and I'm telling you out of confidence. And then the second segment is to go after that individual's character without even knowing the person closely. You understand? A lot of things. Go ahead and listen to what Councillor Sema Serena Cephas had to say. I know most of us would say, "Oh, you're defending the man that because you know him." No, it's not a matter. I think one of the things that have hurt our country is this misinformation, disinformation, and people posing to have the information, spreading rumors, inflaming the situation, putting people against other people. I hear people saying that it was Councillor Sema Serena Cephas who occasioned the appointment of Wabudiki. And then they come around and say, well, this is the same guy who has been appointed to replace the man he was trying to recommend to go to a position. I mean, all kinds of stuff. For God's sake, whoever want to take advantage of education in their lifetime, take it. It helps. It helps to shape the way you think, the way you see things. It helps. To just sit there and just have this verbosity and loud mouth, and you think that's the information, I'm the source of the information, that is illiteracy at best. It's called functional literacy. You lack the emotional quotient, the emotional, you lack the emotional power to be able to rationally think. We call that the emotional intelligence. Loss of it leads to, it makes you look like you're insane. I look at certain people, the way even they present, the way they gesticulate, the kind of French language they use, definitely mentally something is not right. A man is not supposed to take on the airwave where you have that level of viewership and you're discharging invectives at that level. That is not civilization. That is uncouthness to the best, and that's illiteracy. We all think that not going to school, not gaining certain information, that makes you illiterate. I like to watch certain people because they have the emotional intelligence, that balanced way of presenting situations. You enjoy them. I watch Darius Dillon. I'm drawn from people like Custer. I'm drawn from the Prophet Keys because these are illiterate people. They don't have the emotional intelligence to be able to channel their opinion void of invectives. You listen to Darius Dillon, you learn something. You understand? And I know we have these kinds of people. I mean, it's a society we're talking about here. And most people may not like the idea that we're coming down on, because these are their sources of information. If you want to, involve in tabloid like gossip, cheap gossip and stuff, hey, that's your life. That's what entertains you. Keep up. You understand? But if you don't have anything to offer about misinformation and disinformation, man, you're not my friend. Definitely, because I love information. I love information. I can go after information, but it must be accurate. And I don't verify information from one source and start running. Because by the time a rumor gets to the border, it has changed in different forms. So at least don't start with a false path. Start with the truth. So even if it streamlines when you get down to the border, there is some half-truth that will remain there. But if you start with false information, by the time you get somewhere, then what is left of it? I'm going to be bringing Arthur Johnson here again, and I want to get hold of him. I've put in a request to have him on my show, and for me, sometimes people don't know where some of us belong. Maybe when I'm talking like this, we should not see the president as the only enemy of the state. This is all about politics. My party is not there, and now we're talking about a cabal. Meanwhile, you have people who are not swayed by the different changes at the top. They have the wealth to retain their presence anywhere. Any government come tomorrow, you'll be surprised. You'll see the Eugene Angbelen there again. You will see them. Now you wonder how they're happy. Not that they have the expertise. Eugene is not as expert. It's not the expert, journalist or the expert information individual ever in the Republic of Liberia to have served all those line of people. You should begin to ask yourself, what is it he has that retains him at that position? What does he have? How often have you gone to the Ministry of Information website and you see ICT at the best, information communication technology, in the face of all the technology in the world? How often have you gone there? Our tourism is lagging. Now, such an individual does not that he has the capacity, the expertise, but these are the individual. Yesterday he was cursing the President Weir when Madame Salif was there. Today he's talking against Madame Salif. I mean, these are the individuals we're talking about. Get rid of these kinds of people. You understand? I was at the university. I don't know whether I want to assume he went back maybe and completed, but Eugene Angbe dropped. He dropped off, and these are the individuals that come with money. They've been in the corridor of power forever. Why retain one person, 3 different administrations? What expertise it brings? Have you gone to the Ministry of Information and see anything that will say, wow? Go to some of the smaller cities and see their website. It gives complete outlay of the city, the picture. You keep moving one guy for another that look like, a snitch. If that's the only reason why you're giving this, empowering this guy, bring somebody else. Bring another snitch. At least let us revolve. Different people come with different ideas. I want to believe if the Ministry of Information had 2 changes in the course of 3 administration, probably the Ministry of Information will be one of the most effective branches of government today as we speak, because there will be people who come with skill. There are lots of people who can play with technology. Oh man, well, to the extent where you say, wow, they will paint nothing out of something. Go to Rwanda webpage, go to the Ministry of Information about Rwanda, go to the Ministry of Tourism. You understand? Kick this guy out. Why keep Eugene Angbe? Why is he bringing there? I mean, that's why people are saying that we should even abolish Ministry of Information. It's not a productive link in government. It's because it's not doing the job. The ministry was set up to actually function as the information corridor to the Republic of Liberia. You have one guy who, every time something happens, he takes another side, goes through and they don't take us seriously. It was the same guy who said there was a container at the port. Then he came up and said, no, there was no container there. I mean, come on, man. I mean, improve the system of governance. That's what I'm saying. I enjoy this kind of people. I'm afraid for Arthur Johnson and others who are the front line of investing, because we have a dangerous cabal, a team of crooks and criminals. They've been entrenched since the 1980s. They've been entrenched before that. And these are barons that can support any effort. You understand? And that's what is going on right now. And people don't know. So when you have one minister who have served, come on, man, go do something else. Go get a professional certification and go teach the University of Liberia. Eugene should be able to teach now at the University of Liberia, even at the adjunct level, so he can transfer knowledge. You can't be having one guy sitting somewhere there where he runs a gossip column and nothing is going on. You understand? You have his deputy who is equally as clueless. How would people see the Republic? Because if investors are coming into that country, that is the very first place they will go and have the clue as to what's going on in the country. Go there. I doubt if we have anything about COVID. Maybe the site is even dormant. Bring an ICT individual to run that Ministry of Information and let them begin to. Amara was at the Ministry of Finance. We had more interaction with transparency, even though, yes, they were selectively choosing what to put there, things that where they would hide their own shady doing, but things were there. They even had a screen. But you have another guy there who talks more than he does. The same thing, the Minister of Finance, clueless. We have to bring in people that, and Arthur Johnson described it. They talk about a legal matter. You go, you put your mouth there because you feel you know all. And these are the individuals in terms. Sometimes you shift them around. In the military, they teach you in leadership school not to keep a soldier in one location for more than 90 days, at most 120. You shift them around unless that individual is a commander or a commandant. You understand? But all the other chain, they move you around so much that you give up, because they don't want you to build muscle. They don't want you to become comfortable, and you become lazy. You become a less thinking person. So there are a lot of things, there are a lot of individuals I want to see let go in government. Bring in new idea, bring in new people. They bring in new outlook in organization. You understand? New outlook. I want to believe COVID-19 is going on. I go to the Minister of Information. You probably, nobody has touched a mouse there to even move the web page from one place to the other. You understand? I run a small information shop here, man. I can tell you. This is so interactive. And sometimes I can kind of dismantle everything and rebuild. Because I don't want you to get used to just seeing one set of things. You understand? Because that in itself, and then you have another guy who comes in with gossip, just have this dummy stuff sitting behind him that's been there forever. You understand? You call yourself the wise man. Imagine if that man is the president of the Republic of Liberia. What new idea? If a small space that he controls that need to at least be interactive, you understand? You can barely change the curtain that day. Then you condemning Mr. President for not being calculative enough to make changes. You understand? To run government in a functional way. You can barely change the curtain behind you. It's been there. You just come every morning, you sit down, nice t-shirt. Yeah, he wears good t-shirt. But make things, spice things up. That's why people normally lose their relationship as well. You don't spice things up. You just want to go the one way forever and ever. If it's the missionary way, you just, man, to be frank, people are not creative. Forget about the mouth. What people say. You tell from someone's creativity, from their own lifestyle. Now, you've been running the biggest platform forever. The only thing you see back there is one poster behind there with, it's a dummy. It's just sitting there. That is how you judge people who are very creative. You understand? People are very creative. That's how you judge them. I can tell you, I have so much virtual room here. This is just a small station that I have. If you come in my home studio, you would think you are in CNN. The way I built it. You understand? I'm not the ICT guru, but there are DIYs. You can go out to Google and look at certain things. You can go out to YouTube and build stuff. Definitely, that is what we call creativity. There's no way I could have been at the Ministry of Defense by the time you step at the front desk. If there's an ID in your pocket, you understand? An ID with a chip, or it can even be the slide bar that contains all your information. By the time you enter that ministry, everything will be on the screen. I'm telling you. I did it at my old house. But people don't have the wherewithal and they criticize other people. I took over, just the small organization. Before you look, we have a website, we have this, we have that, we have, anywhere you type in ANC Minnesota, there's something that will come up. Any social media platform. You run an entire country, you just go there every day the same day. What are you doing differently? You don't spice things up. That's why women leave some of us. The same old same. You don't never make a change one day when somebody said, hey, what happened? They expect, they have the same expectation and they know exactly how to go about it. And so, I just don't want to take this into another level, but I'm only saying that if you want to be part of government, I can tell you, you have to have that creativity power, that the ability to be able to make things work. You see, different platforms, different virtual rooms. Different virtual rooms, and each of them, I have reason. This is my war room where I'm talking national security. Let me see if I can find it. Let me find the quadrant. This is my national security area. Whenever I'm talking about national security, I come here. Because there are certain clips and audios, including, war pages I've set. You understand? That's what we call creativity, for God's sake. Creativity. I mean, this is not my regular profession. This is just a part-time thing. Yet I've spiced things up to look so nice, to the extent where you want to come in and say, this looks good. You run the biggest platform where you have 2,000-3,000 people watching. Why can't you spice things up? If such an individual is hoping to become president, why is he going to bring there? That's why I say I enjoy Darius Dillon. You see, certain people are change agents. Darius had gone in the House. Now we have a very, very competitive, pragmatic Senate. You don't just, gone are the days where you just stroll in and just walk out and then they confirm you. Hell no. Darius Dillon, there's a change agent. If a man is not able to affect his own environment, you sit now in one small office with this and then a dummy stuff laying behind you, and yet you're criticizing individuals doing almost the same thing, then who are you? What are you going to be doing differently? So I enjoy Arthur Dillon. That's the same individual who came up with misinformation. I've heard that Shema Serena Cephas would be replacing Wamodiki, and then you went to work as to why this guy should not be confirmed. Yap. You understand? Misinformation, disinformation. That is the kind of country we are. And that's illiteracy at the best. At the best. We all think that illiteracy is the ability of not going to school. No, it's the ability not to have certain information that will enhance your way of doing things. That's illiteracy. You understand? So many virtual rooms I have in this place. You know, but ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching me. Tomorrow I will try to bring Arthur Johnson another audio of his. I mean, he's a stout guy. I like academics. Oh man, it's so beautiful to watch. I'm not talking about gossip. Somebody talking about someone underpants their mother, their this. Those are illiterates. Anybody who engages in that. You know, you have a guy sitting in Morocco there with a big head over his shoulder, just cuss and cuss and cuss. How can you watch such a man? What do you... Yeah, sometimes go there because I want to see if he has changed. But once he engages in some of those, you know, it's like a bushman. Completely illiterate. Sit somewhere and just cuss. People watching. Our society has gone that low, man. Our society has gone that low. And you have a guy who comes in without fact-checking situation, jump and misinform thousands of people who don't bother to go and verify those information because he has developed certain trust in their mind, and people distributing all those videos every day. They have a group of women. That's all they do. Henry Costa is on, they distribute his video. You know, you listen to the information. Some of them are misinformation. How can you come and inform the world that a man is about to be appointed for a position he himself does not? He's not even aware. The man is scavenging for information whether it's true, because he gets so many calls from other people because one individual disseminated wrong information. And that has to stop. Some of us will not be friends of you know, those moments, because most people are angry, like somebody saying I should take back certain information. Well, if a man wants to be a journalist, someone who sits and disseminate information, you understand, there should not be an untrained journalist, especially in the face of technology. Man, there's so many things involved. Forget about the dissemination of the information, but think about how to be creative to make things, spice things up so that your audience can entertain. The fact that I'll be moving from virtual room to virtual room, people are entertained by that. You understand? I've had people who call me and say, how did you do that? You understand? How did you do that? You know? How did you do that? How did you move from one room? That's being creative. I didn't go to computer school. We live in a country where if you don't learn good things from this country, you go back home, you're a dummy. And most people will leave from here the way they came. There'll be no change. The only thing they came for is to get a master's degree, where they're not even going to deploy that master degree in ways that, you know, are creative. They just come, go to school, maybe manage to do their assignment, others help them, and then they get a degree, boom, they leave. They go home, I got a master's degree. That is not education. That is, how would you be able to replicate and transfer that knowledge to somebody else when you don't even have the wherewithal? Most people get master's degree. When you listen to them, they write sometimes, say, this could not have been my student, and they get a passing grade under me. No. Most of them, they're here. You interact with people, you see the way they care on you, know, definitely these are the individuals who brag of being the most educated in society. Well, if you cannot make something out of your education, definitely you're not going to be able to transfer that knowledge. I'm going to stop here. I know most people may not like it. That's not what I could care less. I'm only saying that if you want to take on the role of a journalist, don't be an unprofessional disseminator of information. Try to be as professional as possible, because society has come to rely on you for information, accurate information. Out of the clear blue, you just pluck something I've heard that the individual is sending, and then not only did you disseminate that information, but you went on to now to engage on the man's character. He was this person, he was the man's an ICT. ICC lawyer. ICC pertains human rights. That's all they do. Now, if they're going to take one of our own from Liberia to include that individual in their team, I want to believe they've done due diligence. So all this lie and misinformation, no. CFOS, I don't know what happened during the war, but CFOS came to Monrovia so early that we were running around by 1992. We were running around Montserrado. You understand? CFOS. And I remember at one point somebody identified him as G2 officer. You know, I don't know what happened back there, but to come and make it appear like he was this warlord who put Liberians when they were alive in a hole and cover them up, or to say that these were the individuals that, I mean, those are all the kinds of republic that we live in that is making us not to make progress. We have people who enjoy doing that. They just come and just click and start misinforming everybody without even doing due diligence. Besmirch other people's character. Dirty other people. They find a glory in this. It happens. It happens. So the best way certain people are listening to them, sometimes I just pop in and listen to one or two customers' information. It's the same. Nothing different. I heard this. This is this. The president is this. The president. No. Come on, man. Spice up. Change things. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Oh, good night.